Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. Today's video is going to come to you from inside of our hoop house, or some people may call it a greenhouse. I call it a hoop house because it doesn't offer much season extension. But it is homemade, DIY, super easy, super cheap. Stick around to hear how I made it, what goes into it, all the materials, construction, and see how every one of you can do this exact same thing. All right, thanks. Oh, hey, how's it going? Don't mind me. I'm just working in the hoop house, and there's a lot of good reasons for anybody, a homeowner, a farm, or anybody that would like to grow food to have a hoop house. For my main reason for building this hoop house was not necessarily season extension. My main reason was to control the environment. On crops such as tomatoes and peppers, I can really control the environment by not overhead watering. I can install drip irrigation and water from the bottom, so we just get the roots and not the foliage on the actual plant itself. I find when I overhead water my tomatoes and my peppers, there tends to be a variety of different diseases that I cannot control. Blight for the tomatoes, and that really inhibits growth of the fruits. I can also control the pests or any animal that tends to like taking bites out of tomatoes or cucumbers. This is the anchor of our hoop house. 1/2-inch rebar. Each piece was 3 feet long. I drove them down every 2 feet. So I needed 9 on each side to create 20 feet of hoop house. So after driving this down, on one side I drove them directly into the ground. On this side that you're looking at here, I made raised beds, and I actually connected them to the top of the raised bed. This hoop house was constructed with 20 10-foot pieces of PVC. Now, you do not need to get the PVC that is rated for plumbing. This PVC is very pliable, very bendable, very inexpensive. I believe a 10-foot piece is a little under $2, I believe. Very inexpensive. And you probably can't see it, but as I come up, and you can see up there, they're connected with a joint. Maybe we can see it from this side, connected with a joint right there, just glued together with regular PVC glue. And then they are attached to the wood with some braces. So very simple. We have some wood holding it together at the top, obviously. That's for support, not to mention support for the tomato trellises that we use down the center of the hoop house in the summer. We also have the side supports. Just regular old, these aren't even 2x4s. These are 2x3s, as you can see. Skimped a little bit on the price there. 2x4s were a little, that $2 each was a little bit too much for me, so I decided to go with about $1.25 each. Hey, a great addition to any hoop house or greenhouse is the ability to be able to roll up the sides. This gets airflow to come through the hoop house on very, very hot days. This also allows you to reach in one side. If you need to reach something that's not accessible from the inside, you can get it from the outside. The plastic on the greenhouse is not just your ordinary plastic that you'll get at Lowe's or Home Depot. It is a UV resistant greenhouse plastic. So you want to make sure to spend a little bit of extra money and get the actual plastic that's meant for the greenhouse. This will last you 3-4 years if you take care of it. The stuff you get at Lowe's or Home Depot, what will happen is the sun will penetrate it. It'll start cracking with the cold air, the hot air, and the changes in the temperature will end up wearing down the plastic to the point of cracking and ripping, and you'll have holes on your plastic. So it won't even last a season. So I would recommend going online. I mean, even Amazon, you can get 20 foot by 40 foot or 20 foot by 100 feet pieces of plastic for greenhouses. So let me show you how the roll-up sides work. It's actually pretty simple, and just use scrap materials to be able to throw it together. So once I'm wrapping this with plastic, while it's down, I have a 20-foot piece of PVC that goes the whole length. Wrap it around, I put zip ties around the plastic so it holds it in place. It's not beautiful, but it gets the job done. And I have a little coupler at the end that's a little 90-degree coupler that I just glued on so that when you want to roll it up, you can roll it up a few inches, plop the PVC in there and hold it. Or for really hot days, if you want to get some really good airflow coming through, you can roll it all the way up. Plop that in there, and you can get a good amount of air going through the greenhouse. It pretty much opens it up and just covers the top of the greenhouse. Now, you do need to be really careful when you have your hoop house like this, and if you leave it, animals can get in, obviously. Another thing you really need to be careful of is when it's you have a really bad storm, really bad rain, it will flood your greenhouse. The rain will come off the top and it'll pull up and it'll come right into the greenhouse and it'll flood your greenhouse. So you need to be really careful with that. But a lot of times at night, what I would do, it would be filled with heat from the day's sun, and at nighttime, right before the sun comes down in the summer, I'd take this and I'd roll it on back down. You might notice that these strings are here. These strings come in very handy because they wrap all the way around. They overlap and go over top. Those strings keep the plastic in place. When we get really windy days, the plastic does not bow out, and this has a tendency to bow out and catch like a sail on a boat. So those strings going over actually help with that. As you can see, the hoop house doors are just made with scrap wood. They've fallen apart 3 or 4 times. I put them back together each season. Plastic on the outside. You can close it up. Little homemade latch you just put in so it can't open up. Other than that, the door's pretty self-explanatory. I actually take you through, show you the other door. I just created this door last year. This end of the hoop house was closed in, so I actually created this door. Last year, and it works out great because we can get good airflow coming through the hoop house. So this door closes up, also close this up the same way, so we have doors on both ends. Makes it easier to get in and out. Like I said, this hoop house is far from perfect. This is what works for us. Not saying it's going to work for you. However, I hope that this video will motivate some of you in the future to go out and do some building, because One of my favorite things to do is build stuff, and build stuff very inexpensive. I like repurposing and reusing items, so a lot of this was repurposed and reused. So it can be done for around $200. If you have any questions, make sure you comment. Ask the questions in the comment. I'll try to get back to you. Thank you very much.